mining. Okay, so let's see. Software and game development. Let's add the Godot tag. Wow. Right. Let me get the screen visible here. There you are. There is Godot. And let's go ahead and update the YouTube information as well. Developing more. Here we go. This is going to be science and technology. Godot. I don't know, something like that. Save that. Okay. So we have updated our information. And there we are. There is the Godot. And then get this over here. We have, let's see. So where we're at with this right now, I deleted all the tiles that were in the world already because we're going to work on generating the map instead of having it just be a thing. You know, ideally we want it procedurally generated. So it'll spit out some ores randomly, put them all over the place, and then there you go. I think what's going to happen is like I made a note of here, you know, 0 to 20 is the tiles that I think are until about here, or like where the bottom of this is. So these tiles are just going to be empty air for now. And then the ground will start generating from here down. And then we'll also have to set it up so like there's a camera that follows the player and whatnot. But the camera stuff is easy in Godot. You just add like a camera node thing and you're off to the races. But yeah, I would show you the gameplay, but everything just falls off the map because there's no ground. So, so you can't really see what's going on here. But that's why we're making the floor. So what needs to happen is wait, I don't think these are supposed to be there. I'm not sure about this stuff. I think we're still dealing with the damage number things. But what needs to happen is we need to call, maybe the world generator can be like a global thing. I don't think so though. I think we just, maybe we can create a thing with that. How does that work? We need the planet to generate the world when it starts. Maybe we tell it, hey, here's the tile map layer. Oh, let me get some music going. What am I thinking? Yeah, hold on. I totally forgot to set up music. Let me get that going and then we'll be chilling. Yes, thank you, YouTube, for recommending me my own stream. I definitely am tuning into that one. I think I had a video up already, actually. And yeah, here we go. Some Nintendo music. There we go. Oh, that's loud, isn't it? Let me turn that down. Okay, maybe that. Is that low enough? Is that too low? Too loud? Let me know. That looks good audio mixer wise, but let me know if it's a little too quiet or anything. Okay. So what we can do here is let's see, export tile map. Do we save it? Will that get it to show up here? It's not showing up here. Is that because this has an error? Yeah, there we go. So let's tell it where the tile map is, because it needs to put the tiles directly into that. I believe. And in fact, what we could do is, yeah, because it needs to give this the tile map. So this will directly update it. And I don't know if we could do like, if we can just create the world generator as an object. What do we do? World generator.new? I think we can just do that. Yeah. We can just do that. And then we'll give it that type. And then we'll say in here, generator dot generate tiles, and here's the tile map, and there you go, it can go crazy. So that should happen right when the game like loads up for now, or whenever this gets loaded. So that should be pretty good. And now we can actually put the code in here, I think, because if we run it, okay, it doesn't crash. So we're, you know, hey, it doesn't crash. And now we can go ahead and code this in. So I went ahead and I updated the cave tiles, the tile sheet for this. Might be a little bit hard to see, but I added more variants of like, I just recolored these a couple times to just have more like filler sprites for different ores and whatnot. And then I recolored the stone a couple times just to have some filler sprites for different stone layers. So what we can do is everything is a terrain here, right? Dirt, stone, iron, gold, you know, whatever. All these different ores. I just looked up a random mineral name and typed that in there. And then these different stones. These terrains have an ID. Like this is terrain 0 for dirt. Terrain 1 is stone. Terrain 2 is iron, etc. So what we can do is we can make a list of sort of ID numbers that we want to use here. So let's say for the dirt layer, right? So we start from 0. Now, they're not in a particular order. I think to order them, I would have to like redo some stuff. So I think I'll maybe put that off and be lazy about it and just use it as it is right here. Let's see. So it goes dirt, stone, iron, gold, copper, coal, lapis, ruby, uranium, diamond, Veseliite, I don't know how you say that. And then it goes the stones, red, blue, yellow, magenta. Okay, so having that written out will make it maybe a little bit easier to look at here. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 5 is coal, 4 is copper, 2 is iron. And let's say the dirt layer is just copper, iron, coal. How about that, right? So we have just those ores that show up. Nothing else should be there. And then what we can do is we can say how common each block is. So I don't know exactly how the weights work here. Let me Google that actually. Godot RNG weights. No, random number generator in the docs. There we go, yeah. So the random number generator has a random weighted function. Okay, so let's see. I guess the weights are just kind of towards each other, maybe, or like 1 is just like the normal, and then anything above 1 is more common. Anything less than 1 is less common. So we could say maybe dirt is a 10. I don't know. Like I don't know exactly what this is going to mean, but I guess we can just generate it and find out, and then see how we want to tweak the numbers. So dirt, let's say dirt's a 10, and then coal is a 6, copper is a 3 and iron's a 3. Let's say the weights are like that, and then we'll see how that looks. And what we need to do is essentially... Because this is gonna just give us one result. I think we have to loop over all of the tiles, which kind of sucks, but I mean, the world's not that huge, so I guess it's not going to be a big deal. But for X, is it range? Yeah. I think. Is Godot range? Is it range? I might be thinking of something else. That might be a Python thing. Actually, hold on. So, what do we do here? Oh no, it is range. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm just silly. So we can do. We want to go X as big as our map is in tiles. Which seems to be 71 for the entire screen. So we go X0 to 71. So we just do X in range 71. And then for Y in range, let's say, I don't know, 40. Or, well, we want to go 20 to 40, I think. Can we do it like that? Yeah, I think if we do it like that, it'll be 20 to 40. Because the top part, we want to leave zeros. That's air, empty space. And then at this point, what we're going to do is... tile map layer. We're gonna mess with the tile map layer. And what we're gonna do is the tile map... Ooh, excuse me. The tile map at... We're looking for maybe tile map data? No. And we need to set tiles. We're gonna call a function... we're gonna do... maybe set cell or set cells terrain connect. Now, what would be nice is if there was a way to like pass over it and just decide what cells... Actually, there is a way we could do this. Okay, so what we can do is we can create an array here, right? An array of vector 2i's. So what we do is tile chord is a vector 2i. Let's make these the type of what we're doing here, just so it's more explicit. So this vector 2i, I don't know, .0, right? So now what we do is each x and y that we're looking at here is our vector 2i of like the tile coordinate. So tile chord equals... I think we can just do this, x, y. Why are you complaining? It is used. What do you mean? It's used right there. Okay. Well, it's just complaining about all that. So tile chord, we can set the coordinate, and then it wants an array of vector 2i's. maybe what we do is tiles. Maybe we make a dictionary. Because I know that updating the tile map is going to be kind of slow. Like if I do it wrong and I just try to update tiles one after the other, like I think that's not as fast as batching it together and letting Godot handle the updates with just, here's a list of the tiles I want you to update. So what we're trying to build here is a list of the tiles for it to handle just all at once. I think if we do it that way, it'll probably be a lot better than the ways I've done it in the past, where it's like, oh, just update each tile one at a time in a loop. I think it'll be better that way. So what we want to do is, maybe in this tile dictionary, we use... let me just do var here and have it not complain. So tile index we can set equal to rng.rand_weighted, and then the weights is right, no, we do tile, tile IDs, and then the position of this index is rand weighted of tile weights. Okay, and we'll say this is an integer like that. Okay, so what we do is tiles at tile index is equal to tiles.get, and we either get the tile index wait, am I doing that right? Yeah, we either get the number that, so we get what's here, or we have an empty array. And then each of these tile indices in this dictionary are gonna have an array of like tile coordinates. And then so we do that, and then we do dot, because this is gonna be an array. And the Godot arrays, I think there is, there should be append, yes. So we call append, and we append the tile coordinate. So it's going to be an array of vector 2i's. And at the end of all this nonsense, let's go ahead and print. So for k in tiles, let's print out tiles at k. Right, so we're going to call this once, and then we should be able to see the trying to return value of a method that returns void. That's not good. Oh, right. Okay, so maybe what we do is we get rid of this. And we just do this. And debugger, no, errors. Finish just declared. Okay, that's fine, but output should have output something. Like planet should have called generate tiles here. And at the very least, we should have got console output here with print. That is connected, so planet is connected here, and the ready function, when the node and its children have entered the scene tree. Yeah, so that should just automatically be called. There could be an issue here. Calling generate tiles. Like, maybe that just didn't work. Because this should work here for looping through the dictionary. Something about this has not worked. Let's see. Print inside generate inside tile generator function. Let's do some good old print debugging. Okay, so it does get called. That means it's not generating our stuff here correctly. Okay. So let's go ahead and print here. Oh, maybe we need to tell it string. Although I think it can automatically turn an array into a string if you just tell it to print the array. So it loops through the coordinates. Those are all fine. So we know that that works. Let's see what the tile indices look like that it's generating here. Okay, so we're getting random numbers, 0, 2, 4, 5. So those are working. So this part here is not working. Or maybe this is not working for some reason. I don't know. So right, I don't think this is gonna do anything. I don't know, because it should, but maybe because we're not setting it equal to anything. But it, you know, it still wasn't working before. I don't know. Right, so a method that returns void. Because it should be getting this empty array, which should be able to call append on, because it's an array. I don't want to do an if statement here, but I guess we could. I feel like there's got to be a nice way to do this. It worked before, but maybe it's because we're calling a method. So I guess because get can return void, then it's like, oh, well, putting an append here, that's silly. Don't do that. Maybe that's the issue here. So tiles at tile index is either going to be what's already there or this, and then maybe we just have to do this on the second line. And then after it's already equal to something, so we make sure that it's not void, then we can append the tile chord. That worked. Okay. So, right, we just have to wait a line. We have to make sure that it's not null, so we actually can append to it. Okay, and now you can see here it printed out the array of all the coordinates. Perfect. So, so now we know that works. All we have to do is, for each K, we just have to tell the tile map layer, here's what you're gonna do. And I think all we do is tile map. And then we call set cells terrain connect. I don't think it's there's another one for path, but I don't think it's path. I think. not 100% certain. But let's try this. So the cells that we're gonna give it is just the tiles at K. The terrain set, terrain set is 0. The terrain is K. And then let's see if that works. Okay, it worked. The ores are not connected together, but then again, these are different colors. It's hard to see, but that does work. Now, all of the ores are way too common. So, I think in terms of numbers here, right? Like, we want to go maybe 0.7. These are like 0.25, 0.25. Let's try that. Better. Still a little bit silly, but better. Let's say this is 0.5, and these are 0.1s. Okay, so we want, like, really tiny numbers for these guys, I think. But, I mean, you know, we're getting there. Now, they're not clustered. I think we would have to modify our algorithm here if we wanted it to generate these things into, like, clusters. Right, and we don't have anything set up for the new ores for breaking them. So let's fix that. Okay, so once these are generated, the tile map needs to know, based on the tile ID, what kind of health it's going to have. Oh, these have a ton of health because of the terrain. It's just based on terrain ID. So I think maybe we do have, where is it? I think it's ore table. So get ore stats here. Let's also add a function like get ore HP. And then that'll be with a terrain that's an integer. It'll return an integer. And this will probably... Although I could also match ore name as well, so it's a little bit consistent here, which I think might be a good idea. I also should make a note here of what these are for the future. So this returns ore name. I think that's the ore weight, ore value, and ore sprite. And we'll put this outside the function here. Now this is gonna return... Maybe we do the same thing here. So it's just consistent. Iron ore will have, what is it, like, I don't know, 30 health? Coal ore will have less, maybe like 15. Copper ore will have, I don't know, 20. Let's say iron value. I think this is the value. Yeah, ore stats is name, weight, value, sprite. We'll say this is worth 10. And then, let's see, iron, coal, copper. Or actually, these are going to be tile HPs rather than specifically ores, now that I think about it. I may rename this to just be like a generic, like instead of ore table, just tables, and put stuff in here. But yeah, we want tile HP. And so we do want to go with the terrain here. Because this is going to be, I think, generic for everything. Um, so let's do this iron ore. It's like a 2. Okay, so dirt has 10 health. Stone has 20. Underscore is the default. The default will just be 10. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the only ones we have right now, that we're generating is 5, 4, 2, and 0. So 5 is, I think that's coal ore. 4 is copper ore. 2 is iron ore. This is dirt. Stone. I forgot what 3 was. Dirt, stone. 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is gold. That'll be like 50. Coal is 5. Lapis is 6. Let's say that's like 40. Well, we probably want it to be kind of based on the value or something, actually. But I don't know. We'll figure that out later. That's fine. So now we have that. And then we can go to when the tile map needs to know how much health to give it. This can be... and what is that? That is more table dot get tile HP with is it tile dot terrain? I think so. And we don't need to do 10 plus. We can just do. We don't even need any math here. We can just say, "Hey, give me the health." Okay. And then right. So now we have to go to drop ore, right? So the ore manager. Drop ore. We need to add in more stuff here. So we need 3. Iron ore. I guess I don't need to label these because, like, it's kind of already labeled there with the name, but that's fine. And let's instantiate this with gold ore. We're going to do 4 and 5. This is going to be copper, coal. Okay, and then the ore stats, no, ore drop, no, ore table. We need coal ore. Let's kind of put them in the same order. Let's go ahead and do that. Coal is gonna weigh probably less. I don't know, what do we think? Well, I mean, let's just make them weigh all this, leave those stats the same for now. And then we'll figure that out in a little while. Let's find another little sprite here to use. There we go. Item 321. That one looks kind of coal-ish. Go ahead and add in copper. Okay, and that's gonna be... Three, two, four. So we got iron, copper, coal. I think that's it. We just have the 3 ores in this layer. So there's iron. There's coal. Perfect. It just works, TM. And then I think this is copper. Look at there. And then if we go dump these in the ship, it, I think, offloaded them all correctly, but it doesn't. This shows the iron ore for our ship's debug information. Let's actually, let's see. No, it's supposed to be 4K in inventory.resources, so it should show the other ones. So let's see. When we deposit ore. Ship inventory. Ship. When is it that we deposit ore? I already forgot. It's in here somewhere, you know? Like... Player drop-off range? That has a signal. Is that not connected to player? Oh, maybe it's connected to player inventory. Okay. So while resources is not empty, for K and resources, weight minus equal to... Right, we need to get the resources weight from the resource, so we can have maybe different ores weigh different amounts. But yeah, it's supposed to add the ore, so it should be adding all of the different ones. Maybe it has something to do with the label for the ship. Is just one label, and it isn't showing the rest of the text. That might be all it is, actually. Because it seems to have worked without crashing. Yeah, because see, there's coal. I think it has something to do with it. Oh, well, now it's working. I don't know then. I don't know why it didn't work that other time. It is a mystery. Could have something to do with them all happening in the same drop-off thing. It, like, didn't update the text node, whatever, properly. But there you go. So now that is working. And then at some point we will be getting money, and then we can go upgrade at the shop, which we can't do until we have the money. But this all works too. This window needs to be like automatically sized to the game screen. I need to learn how to do that. Right now it's sized to like, well, actually it should be. I don't know why it's large. It should be sized down to the, yeah, I added in the escape button, closes it. It should be within the viewport of the game screen. Oh, it is. Okay, the game screen was just shrunk down because of this. Okay. So yeah, it, you know, you have a menu with a shop and everything, and now you have randomized ores. Maybe make them a little bit more sparse, I'm not sure. I don't know how far we want to go with that. So, I mean, hey, you know, it's working. And then now, oh, excuse me. Got the yawns going on. We need a camera. Just a real quick camera 2D. This is going to... Let's see. This is going to have a script. Camera. Okay. This is going to have... We're going to tell it, here's the player object that you're going to follow. I don't know if we want to do... I guess we could do physics process. We want it to happen maybe after the player moves. I don't know if there's a way to do that, but I don't know. We'll just put it in process, I guess. And what'll happen is we are going to follow the player. Towards its target position. Oh. Yeah, let's turn that on. And then I think there will be a target position. Let's see. So, go camera. So there will be... I don't know how we set the target position. There's rotation, smoothing speed, there's offset. But what? There's got to be a target position variable, right? I didn't see one here. That's weird. Okay, so Godot set camera target position. Ah, it's the global position is its target position, apparently. So, maybe player global position? I don't know. Okay, yeah, it is. And then, there you go. And the camera's got a little bit of smooth to it. Okay. So there you go. There you go. Nice and easy in Godot. Working camera, problem solve. Now, the weird part is going to be, because we're using a camera to offset things, we need to adjust for that with, you see that, like, where the mouse position and stuff is. So that changes things. We gotta fix that now. So... So we're gonna have to get the mouse position minus half the game window size plus the camera position, I think. Although, that was a long time ago. Maybe there's a function for this. Oh, the camera has screen to world options. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna have to convert some coordinates here. This is getting really tangled. I should probably do this in a much smarter way, but kind of just slapping things down to see what works. It tends to be how I learn things. I'm sure there's a less messy way to do this without bouncing back and forth of like, oh, well, the player needs to check this and this needs to check that. You know what I mean? But, you know, whatever. I could just do another one of these. Although I think if they reference each other, that might cause some problems, right? I don't know. Let's find out. I don't think it's like C or something where it's a dependency. So I don't think it's actually going to matter. I think it just gives them a reference to whatever. But we can do that, and then we could do... we can do, the screen to world, so... mouse pause equals camera.screen to... Is that not a thing? I thought it was. Camera 3 coordinates. Okay, hold on. Maybe we do... There might be get global mouse position. Boa. Is this not a thing actually? Oh, maybe we just call this function. I should really be more consistent about my underscores here. Okay, let's see what happens with get global mouse position. I think that... Yeah, that solved our issues. Okay. So we just have to get the global mouse position and we're good. Okay. Now, maybe we don't want the smooth movement on the screen. I don't know if that's exactly what we want. That seems to be working now. I don't know why it didn't work before. And we need to set the position of this shop menu to, like, the camera instead of static. So... we're gonna have to reference the camera in the shop, too? Yeesh. Maybe it should just be a global value at this point, if everybody's gonna need it. I don't know. Okay, so maybe we just set the screen global position here to, like, the camera. The camera's global position, perhaps. Mayhaps. No. No. Oh, well, it has to do that more than once, you know. This actually needs to be in process. So let's try that. Okay, I mean, that does work, but it needs to be off. How much does it need to be off? I guess half its width and height, or something like that. Whatever that happens to be. I have no idea. Okay, that's too much. Maybe half as much. It's close. Player also needs to, like, the game needs to stop when this is happening, but we'll get there. Oh, right, these need to be bigger. It needs to go more negative. Okay. And what if we just do position? That doesn't really change anything. Okay. But there's that. So now the screen is actually visible. And because these are default Godot button things, like, we don't have to worry about the mouse input stuff. That handles it all nicely. Okay, maybe we don't need a check here. We always be setting. So that way, as soon as it's visible, it's already where it needs to be. Okay. I like it. We're getting somewhere. Now, one thing we're gonna have to consider is how to extend the world with chunks or something to keep it going left and right. And we also need to generate more layers of the world here. Now, I don't know if we want to have one tile map layer that we keep adding to until it's, like, insanely large. I don't know if that's a good idea. I think Godot can handle displaying and rendering tiles and all that kind of stuff for us in terms of needing to worry about the size of the tile map layer. I don't know. I don't know if the tile map layer gets shittier as it gets larger. That is definitely a consideration to worry about, I think. Okay, so now that we have that working, what we got here? Okay. Yeah, I mean, we have this. We probably want it to do layers. So we're gonna have to maybe just do everything in one function here. So what do we do? We go piecemeal, right? We have more for loops. Now we do, is it 20? I guess it is 20. 41 to like 70. I don't know. This one is gonna be, maybe we just do, we define all these at the top. So we do the dirt layer, then we do the stone layer, which is going to be, it's going to be stone for the most common. And then it's going to be, you know, coal, copper, iron. There's maybe a little bit of lapis. And I don't know, gold or something. Right? So now we do dirt weights and dirt IDs. We do stone IDs and stone weights. Maybe these are more common. And then we have a little bit of these last two. And maybe this goes up to like 6. Ah, empty layer. Okay, so it needs to start here. So it does start at 40. Okay, oh, because it's not inclusive. It starts one after the first in the range, and then it includes the last number. Okay. And then what we could even do is get a little bit more granular. And we could say, like, on the border of these, we can have some mix of stone and dirt and stuff, so it's like a little bit more of a smooth transition instead of just, okay, now it's stone. So, you know, we can get that a little bit better. I think we'll save that. We want to get the game functionality stuff first, and then we can go back and polish it up and make it nice. But yeah, so these different tiles have their different health. Gold should drop a thing. Yep, gold drops a thing. And now we're stuck in a pit. Oh no. Never dig straight down. We fucked it all up. Okay, and there we go. So now it's nice and easy. We could just, however many vertical layers we want, add them in here. If this gets a little bit too chunky, it may take forever to generate, but I think as it is now, this is pretty quick. We're only looping a few hundred times through this. I don't think it's that bad. I hope. I guess we'll find out if we add a few more layers and stuff, and the game takes a significant amount of time to generate a chunk. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And then we can also, what we can do is we can add like a parameter offset here for generating the tiles. And if it's all on one tile map layer, we can just tell it offset your X loop range by, you know, if we're a chunk to the left, it's just minus 71, or a chunk to the right plus 71. And you know what I mean? So we could say 0 to 71, And we could have our offset here be an integer. Let's say x offset. And let's say it's this is the it's an offset in terms of like 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of having to type out the exact multiple of 71 because I don't want to have to think about that. And we'll just say it's by default equal to 0 if it's not given. So 0, no problem. Now let's say we go to planet, we call this a couple more times for -1 and 1. Okay, so that's pretty fucking slow, as you could tell. Like, we got stuck there through those functions, and you could see that each loop, each function call takes actually a couple seconds. Like, that's not fast at all. Which is not ideal. That's not what you want to see. But we do have a bigger map. So what I'm curious about is where the performance drops are coming from. Because this last one seemed to happen pretty quick. So these middle ones got caught up for a second. I don't like that. Why that happened? That is the question, is why so slow? Now, my initial thought is for loop. We're just looping over everything and that's slow. It's either that or it's something else. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's make... Let's say, if input dot is action just pressed. Let's say it's interact. Let's go ahead and generate the tile maps here. Okay. Because we want to be able to maybe visual profiler. And then... Wow. Okay. What the hell? That froze for quite a while. So how do we... And a lot of it was GPU. Like, that's interesting. Does that mean it's tile map related? That's what I want to know. Let's see. Physics process. And let's try that again. We're using 100 megabytes of video memory? How? What am I doing? Why is this 100 megabytes? There's got to be some fuckery with the tile map stuff. That's got to be it. Right? Like, there's no way. 99 megabytes of video memory. That's crazy. It's a two-dimensional textured game. Like, what? We're using 50 megabytes of RAM? Brother, what? How is it so memory hungry already? What happened? Start the profiler. We're looking for physics frame, process, physics, maybe... Right, profiler, not visual. We're looking for profiler here, because we want to know what the hell happens when the game dips. Right here. Maybe I need script functions on. So physics process and process were fine, even throughout the big dip, I think. Maybe. Let's press it again. I don't know what's getting the game to freeze here. Considering that the visual profiler spikes on our GPU, I'm thinking it's got to have something to do with like re-rendering it's got to have something to do with updating the tile map. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the tile map is just not designed for real-time operations. Especially with a lot of them. Like, I think even batching it the way we did, I don't think that's working. I can't quite... I wish I could zoom in here. I want to know what the hell... I want to see, you know, what took up all of this time. Why did it freeze? But I can't quite find it here. I don't know why. It should be somewhere between 78 and 85, but none of these timings here indicate that the game froze. Which is strange, you know? Like... Okay, so let's try something here, right? If we don't call this, what happened? Like, is it slow? Oh, well, that would happen, of course. So if x offset is equal to 0, let's only call this for the initial map so we have something to stand on. And now generate the map. Okay, see, that happened instantly. So the tile map is what's eating up all of our time here. So tile map expensive. We can confirm that for sure. Tile map updating, like with this, very expensive. I'm assuming the reason for that is tile maps are just inefficient for real-time stuff. Like, when it needs to rebuild the whole tile map, it takes a lot of time, especially checking the connections for tiles, and I think it probably is checking tiles it's already updated and yada yada yada. I don't think this runs very efficiently. We could store them in an array. Like... Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is kind of very unfortunate. I feel like programming, when I've messed around with something like this from scratch in C++ or something like that, it runs a lot better, but I guess that's to be expected from something that's not a complete game engine and doesn't have a lot of, like, stuff that it supports, you know? There's a lot of things that tile maps can do, and I think that bogs things down here. Custom rendering solutions. Maybe. But that would be mostly for 3D, I think. But maybe we could use a custom rendering solution, perhaps. That might end up being faster. I don't know. It's just, it feels weird, right? Like, you'd think it would be fine, but maybe it's because of the way we're doing this. Maybe there's a better way to update a tile map. And we're doing it wrong. Because, like, what we could do... We might end up needing to render our own textures here. And maybe do something a little bit fancier. I don't know. Because what I'm thinking is, like, maybe every tile is a scene, but that feels overkill, right? Like, and that seems extremely... I feel like that would be even slower. I don't know. Huh. This is very difficult to think about and to figure out what the best method here would be. Because I know I've run into similar issues with tile maps before, and they're just like, they're not good for real runtime efficiency. They're good otherwise, like for building a map and connecting tiles and stuff, especially if it's static, they're fantastic. But if you need something dynamic, I don't know. I'm just reading through a little bit of people talking about a few years ago on GitHub, like talking about things with how set tile data works and all that. Huh. Okay. But this is old. This is 2019, so I don't know if it's still... I don't know. Okay, so here's a YouTube video. 2D Godot tile map game with seamless world of millions of tiles. So what the heck does this guy do? Okay, I'm probably gonna have to listen to this video, so I'll bookmark this video for later, and I'll definitely check it out, because it seems like some people might have some examples on how to like actually use massive tile maps and stuff, and like how to get them working performantly. Yeah, I think it's because tile map has so much going on with it that it's just slow, especially in runtime. And maybe tile map just isn't the way to go. So yeah, okay, so it says there is a function called update internals, right? Hey there, Dandy. It's going. Right now I'm running into like a little bit of a performance issue. You know, we have our random generation of this tile map, but because I'm using a tile map node, right here, a tile map layer, and I'm having it update the connections between tiles and stuff after we set all the data all at once, there's like a big performance hitch with trying to generate more of the tile map and connect them all and everything. So I'm trying to see like how to address that. But you know, we have some extra ores. It generates things randomly. Right now it's just completely random. There's not like, you know, veins of ore yet. But you can mine stuff. You put them in your little ship, whatever. There's this thing which right, it's not full size. So there's the menu. I have it set to where the camera is. The camera follows the player around. So that way there can be more to the sides eventually. And it correctly accounts for the position of things. There's also another layer down here under the dirt that gets generated with even more different ores that don't show up in this layer. So it's becoming a video game. You know, we've got a lot of the basics there. The issue right now is that I have already run into an issue with tile maps. Having it be one massive tile map is just not the way to go. So what we need to do is, I think we just need to have it be a new tile map. So I think instead of this, like, this X offset is going to have something to do with it being, being another entire chunk. I think vertically it's fine, because I think it generates at a decent pace, maybe. Like, it might take a minute here before the game starts when it's generating this. So maybe even then I need to, like, worry about how I'm updating my tile map and make it a little bit more efficient and less dumb. But I think maybe just adding another, like, each chunk of tile map is this big, like the screen width, and then we just add an entirely new one to the left and right when the player walks over there, so we have new layers. So maybe that's how we play it here. So what we need, if we're gonna have chunks, right? We're gonna have a lot to think about here with coordinates of things. The connections, so it's like, you can see how, you know, visibly, there's, I don't have like a zooming in option here, I think. But you can see, like, visibly, you can see how there's this little border around these dirt tiles, and they sort of visually connect to each other. Whenever that changes, it updates that connection. And I can do that with just, like, doing that with one tile at a time is no problem at all for a tile map. That's super easy. Yes, we're using, so what we're doing is we're using, where is it? We are using a tile map layer, and what we're doing is we have a bunch of terrains set up, right? We have dirt as a terrain connection, stone, iron ore, gold ore, etc., right? And each of these terrains are just painted over right here. Each terrain is its own thing, and they're all set up with the tile set here. So if we go to, not physics, terrains, you can see the terrains are set here with terrain set 0. And they're all set up with their connections here. So they're all good to go, right? I got all these set. Their connections are all drawn up. Like, there you go. They're, you know, just basic north, south, east, west connections, and all that good stuff. So we're using those. And what we're doing is I have tested my code here, and I am very certain it's this that's causing the big lag. Just this line. If we comment this out, this part runs almost instantly. What we're doing is we're looping through the width of the screen chunk here, which is 71 tiles. And then for each segment of vertical tiles, like from 20 to 40, that's the dirt layer. So we call a random index for one tile, we get its coordinate, we put those into an array, and we save all those coordinates that we want to update into an array. And then we just say, like, hey, here's all the tiles that are of each terrain. Update all those tiles. And so I'm letting it do its own thing, but it's maybe just too much at runtime to be updating. Because it just freezes. And the interesting part is that in the debugger, it's the GPU that freezes. It like the spike is under the GPU. I can't find anything here under like the frame time stuff. Nothing looks anomalous, so I don't know like what's happening when it's freezing, because I can't find the frame even though it exists, and like I can click here and see this giant spike. I cannot find the frame where it's freezing. It doesn't seem to like appear. So I don't know exactly what's happening. It's a bit strange, and I'm having some trouble tracking it down, but it just doesn't seem to work correctly. And it lagged very bad. I don't really know why. So what we could do is we could put that back, so I could show you again if you're familiar with Godot at all. And maybe we can pin this down. So let's see. Okay. So the first call is maybe a little bit slow, but we generate one over here and over here, and now they're all part of the same layer, so that's probably why the performance is bad, because it's just making a gigantic layer. And I think it also needs to resize the layer. I don't know how that works. But if we press Control, the game lag real bad, and then it generates the things. Let me restart the game actually and get the profiler here. So we start this, we do frame time, physics frame time, script functions, we want to check those, maybe. And then, right, so now we press Control, and then we pause. And now we can see here there's a huge spike. And where is that spike coming from? What frame is that? Okay, hold on. Oh, I saw a bunch of stuff appear here. Oh, here we go. That looks abnormal. So process time, right? And yeah, that's where, so it's in the process function. Yep. World generate tiles. And it does not get more granular than that, unfortunately. So, I mean, I know that it's my generate function, but the thing is if I remove the call to the tile stuff, it, I'm pretty sure there's no lag, like, at all. If I checkmark these, do they stay? If I restart, it's gonna do that. But if I go into here and I go, for example, so if x offset is 0, so that way we're not falling forever. So if we don't call that function at the end for these chunks, and we just generate the data, I believe that we can press Control, and you see, yeah, world generate tiles took no time at all. I should probably add a breakpoint or something, but like we went past it without a hiccup. And so I don't think it's my code for, oh, there it was. It takes 2 milliseconds. So generating the tiles, great, fantastic. That works just fine. No issues there. Updating the tile map, that's where things go crazy, and it takes like actual seconds to get through. So I think that pretty much pins it down that we don't want to, at the very least, we don't want to be using one big tile map that we just like chunk onto, because then this is just not good. Maybe what we do now, we could potentially make like separate tile map layers, you know, for each chunk. And so it's like, okay, when you go to the left by one chunk, it's like that's its own layer, and then you make another layer to the left of that, and etc. But I get the feeling that that's also going to be kind of slow. Like, I think the game is kind of hitching for a second, like maybe a decent amount of time, more than just a couple frames worth, when the game launches, and it has to generate this first set and set the terrain connections for this first generation when the game loads. I think that's getting stuck there for a bit, because I don't think it's very fast. Like right here, it's getting stuck, and then it generates that, gets the connections, and then you're able to finish loading in. So I think we need to maybe just not do this, and I don't know. Like I don't know if tile map layers just may not be the answer for displaying our tiles here, and we may need to code up something a little bit more efficient ourselves. Because I really get the feeling that it's that pass. I think it's just updating way more than it needs to when it goes through these passes. Complaining it's slower than 3's update bitmask region. Okay. Call set cells terrain connect once for each tile instead of passing the array in. Interesting. So you're saying we loop through the array and call it on each tile? So you're saying like that? Let's see. Oh. Oh, that requires an array. Like an array of a single tile, maybe? Is that what they mean? Oh, that's definitely not faster. Okay, hold on. Is there... maybe set cell instead of set cells terrain connect, but I don't know if set cell will work. Let's see. So we need the layer. What is the layer? Is that just 0? I don't. It's an integer. I think we only have the one layer, so I would assume that's 0. So layer coordinates. Oh wait, no. Layer. Okay, layer is not there. So chords, source ID, atlas chords, alternative tile. No, because see, set cell doesn't take terrain into account. Yeah, set cell, that's not going to work here, because we need to use terrains. So, yeah, that doesn't work. Like, we know that doesn't work because the game just gets stuck here. And I think it probably partially has to do with having to convert this into an array, because it needs an array. And so, see, it's even worse. Okay, so somebody's got a better terrain. So terrain plugin for the tile map. It works alongside the existing ones. Its tricky behaviors and is tailored towards specific usage, and it's quite slow. Yeah, it's difficult to use at runtime. Okay. Better terrain is available from the asset library, but the latest version is available here. Okay, so usage in code, set cells. Okay, well, yeah. That's what I figured, because I had messed with Godot 4 before and had some issues with terrains and that kind of stuff with tile maps. So yeah, I figured it was probably just like, I need to do something instead of using the default terrain stuff. I think they have. Yeah, that's weird. I think I've read that they did do like batch draw calls and stuff in a recent 4 update, like 4.4, 4.5, something like that. For tile maps especially. They did get the batch draw calls and stuff like that in here. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, let me download this add-on and see what happens. Actually, hold on. No, I gotta go to releases? No. Okay, so I just gotta download the zip. Yeah. Well, thank you for sending me this. That's nice to have. Let me put it in mining game assets. Sure. Let's pop open that location. Let's go ahead and extract that. Can I drag and drop into Godot? Whoa. Oh, oops. You go there. You get rid of. Why are you so sad? I think I need to restart, actually. Let me do that. Yes, I have done things like through school and stuff. You know, I got my computer science degree, and I have experience of messing around with like C++ and SDL or whatever. Like I've done that before, and that kind of shit is just like really straightforward. You know, you don't have to worry about performance whatsoever. It feels like with engines, there's always some weird gimmicky stuff to it, and it's just awkward. What I don't know is because, yeah, like you've said, you know, you make your stuff from scratch and it's like, oh, the performance is fantastic. Like, what is it that makes the performance so bad here? I think maybe if I could just go in and edit how these work, you know, like, or if they would just take this add-on, Better Terrain. Like, it's gotta be, there's gotta be something they're doing wrong with how they update the tile map, and it's just very, very inefficient, and there's, like, a way to do it better, and they just aren't doing it. That's true, but I feel like there's gotta be some... The approach that they use for updating these terrain connections is probably a very, unoptimal approach, I would imagine. Because, like, it's 2D, and there's not that much data here. It shouldn't be that slow. So I think the reason it's so slow with just, like, a few hundred tiles is because of the implementation being suboptimal for terrain connection calculation. Yeah, I would imagine it's something like that. And I think it like, and as you can see from somebody making an add-on that just makes the terrain system better, like, you know, I think there is a way to optimize it that they just need to adopt. And hopefully that's on the docket for like 4.6 or 7 or something, and I would hope, but we'll see. Okay, so using it in code. So it has an auto load, the Better Terrain auto load. To edit terrain at runtime, first you set it into cells, then you must run an update function for the cells to pick it's similar to Godot 3. So to set or get terrain in cells, these functions are available. Build Godot from source and profile the actual engine code. That would be kind of fun. I haven't done something like that in a while. That'd be kind of neat. Yeah, I mean, profiling's not that hard. I've done it before with the stuff in school. So, yeah, just sitting down with a profiler and just taking a couple hours to poke through it. Yeah, this is doable. And then I already have, like, the use case here of, like, generate, 100 or 1,000 or whatever, like, an array of these and do all that stuff, and then boom, you, like, test it out and see how it performs. That could be neat. And maybe I can contribute to the project. Who knows? But yeah, I feel like people already have solutions here, so it's like, why don't we just adopt these solutions? I guess maybe because it's so similar to Godot 3 and they want it to still... there is a reason, like, they're changing the functionality for tile maps. So maybe what I could do to contribute would be marrying this better terrain functionality with how 4 works. Yes, exactly. So, just going in and taking somebody's and just being like taking the approach that somebody else has here or whatever. So, okay, what it's saying here then is, so we get our vector 2i, and instead of all this crazy nonsense we're doing, let's just comment it out for now. We can... Okay, and it takes the tile map layer. Okay, perfect. So we call better terrain. No? Set cells? How does this work? It says it's an auto load. What does that mean? If it's an auto load. How do I use this in code? Oh. I need to enable it. Okay. I get it. Okay, so now... better terrain. So now it says we can set cell per coordinate. I don't know if we want to do it batched because it has an option for giving it an array. I don't know if it matters. It would probably just loop anyways over the. I don't know if it matters. I don't think it does. I think we'll do it like this. So we give it our tile map, we give it our tile chord, and we give it our terrain, which is our tile index. Right? And so we do this in both of these spots. And then in here, instead of this, maybe instead of all of this, we do better terrain dot update terrain area. Because we just want to update everything that is in this area. And we can just do it right at the end. And that should update all the cells. Like, they all have their own data, so it just handles everything for us. So we tell it the tile map, and then rect to I. And what are the arguments for this? I don't know. Look up symbol. XY width height. Okay. World shooter. So XY width height. So 0, 0, 71, 70. Because we go from 0 to 71. Let's also get rid of this. Actually, no. Let's not get rid of that, actually. And then we don't need tiles anymore, apparently. Let's comment that out. Okay, so And then I think, does this have one more? And the surrounding cells, which is true. Yeah, probably just leave it true. Okay, that did not work at all. So how do we ensure that this has better tile support in here? A new dock called Terrains will show up. Is that up here? A new dock called Terrains. What is a dock? Is that supposed to be in this part on the right? Like here? Maybe it doesn't work because this was already existing. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. How do we do this? First thing it does is make 2 copies of the array you pass in. No. Really? Come on, man. Why does it do that? No wonder it's so slow. Especially if the array we're passing in is an array of vector 2i's. Like, why would you copy that? That's awful. Just iterate through the array. That's forehead. Like, that's all you gotta do. Oh, that's silly. You know, I had the feeling. I figured it was in the implementation. Because, yeah, with a 2D game with, like, a few hundred tiles, like, it really should not be that slow. And, yeah, I think we can see why. The memory. And that makes perfect sense. You know what's crazy? This little fucking 2D game we're making, oh god. Looking at like, we're using 50 megabytes of RAM and 100 megabytes of video memory with just nothing, right? Like, what is Godot doing? What's going on here? What do you mean by that? It just, how are we, I don't get it. Like, we have basically nothing in our game and we're using megabytes of memory at this point. It's, all right, let's check this out live on air. How we looking? All right, so here we go. Set cells terrain connect. How do I make this a little bit bigger? All right, so we've got our typed array, of course. What language is in this? CPP. Okay, perfect. C++. I know that. All right, so we have fail conditions. If your tile set is null, obviously that's not going to work. If your terrain set and your get terrain sets count don't match, like if this index is... Oopsie. Didn't mean to do that. We were at 3,000, right? Yeah. Just kind of do that a little bit. Okay. So yeah, if your index of your terrain set is not in your tile set, that's an error, obviously. Okay, so you have your cells, which is the ones that you want to update. So now we have a cells vector and a painted set. Okay. Right. So we start by looping through the cells once. So we have ON, right? The size of your cells will directly affect the time it takes to execute this for loop. Your cells vector adds each cell, and your painted set adds each cell, right? So, like you said, you make 2 copies. And so now you've already got ON, because the size of this is going to affect the size of this. Awesome. O log n copies, does it resize? Oh, no. Okay, so now you have a hash map of vector 2i's with the terrain pattern, terrain fill output, terrain fill connect. I don't know what this function do. It is, I think, in this file. It is okay. So this is something that's been defined already. This is so we can actually jump to it. Make some more copies. Okay, that's what you're talking about. Okay, so we've already got O in here, but then as you can see here, we loop through. So for every key value pair in the terrain fill output, which comes from this, so we're kind of getting, we've got like a double loop thing going on here. Build list and set of tiles that can be modified. Yeah. So in this array, you've got your coordinates of your p-coords array, which we are at least passing by reference, so I believe, so we're not making a copy by passing this in, which is good, but I think, here, we are passing by value, so inherently we're copying the array of p cells that gets passed into this function. I think. I don't know exactly what typed array here means and like how that changes things, but to me it looks like we're not getting, we're not getting the ampersand reference to the p cells. We're directly copying that whole array just off the bat. And working off of a copy of p cells in this function, which maybe you want to do, but yeah, maybe. I don't know. So that's up in the air. But then, so if painted set has a key, paint a random tile with the correct terrain for the painted path. What do you mean by that? Tile map cell C, get random tile from the pattern. Is the pattern the, is this the pattern? Is it what, or is it talking about patterns? Like it allows patterns here. I guess it allows patterns. So it has to be able to handle that. So fine, I guess. So in map terrain pattern, but then, okay, so avoids updating the path from the output if the new pattern is the same as before. Yeah, that's fair. Yes, terrain pattern. So tile map cell gets the cell, and then if the source ID, I haven't looked at C++ in a little while, but yeah, I mean, it's not so bad to look at. So if the cell is not invalid source, we get a pointer here to the source ID. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Maybe somebody's already working on that, but that is interesting. Yes. But yeah, I think just combing over this with a debugger, it wouldn't be too bad, especially with things as spelled out as they are. I think you'd be able to build a good image of what's happening there. Anyways, so this doesn't work. For some reason... Okay, so hold on. I think I did this wrong anyways. We're going from 0 to 71, but we're going from 20 to 70, so... we do like that. So XY, 0, 20, width and height, 71, 70. Now, this didn't update the terrain area, though. So what I think might be the issue is that our tile map layer does not have the better terrain stuff going on with it. Oh, well, here it is. Oh. Okay, we have to set up our better terrain. This is an entirely new system. Okay. Got it. Okay, so we got to set up all our terrains right now. How do we do that? Dirt. Gotcha. Okay. So stone. Iron ore. Okay. That's fine. We'll go through here. We'll add all these. That's okay. Coal ore and this ore. I think really we just have to do those for the moment. Hopefully the indices work similarly, so I don't have to redo that part of the code, but if we need to, that's not a big deal. Okay, so currently that's all we have generating. So let's try this. Oops. Can I control Z? I kind of can. I need to be on the correct... Yeah. My bad. I was like, why was that a different color? I have to be on the correct thingamabob. Here. And then I can paint the correct connections here. But I mean, I think even without this, the code was much faster. Now maybe that's because there were no tile things, so it just skipped it all, actually. So never mind. Let's withhold our judgment for a moment. Things could very well change after we do this, which it probably will, because it will have actual data to work with and connections to calculate. But it's like, yeah, you know, I've made, hell, even in Game Maker, I made a very fairly quick tile connection system thing that I was thinking I might need to mimic in Godot and just like make my own connection calculation stuff. But yeah, this plugin should hopefully save me from having to do that, and would probably be more performant than me doing it in like GDScript. GDScript does win out over C# for certain things with Godot, which is interesting. I don't really know why that's the case, but there are some things that they're either equally performant or it's more performant in GDScript, which I thought was neat. 0 allocations, nice. Yeah, you have your auto direction. Yep, you do this. So it just, you know, you look at the layer it's on. Double now. Does that mean you need to do the update now, as opposed to like I don't know, batching it or something, or doing it later? But yeah, this is basically the kind of code that I had. And I really love bitmask stuff for tiles. It's fantastic. And yeah, like, so it's, I assume the reason their code got all complicated and slow is because they're trying to handle this pattern stuff, which I don't know how the hell that works, so I'd have to like learn, okay, what is the pattern stuff supposed to do in the first place? Like, how are they handling patterns here for the tiles? Like, are you able to auto tile like chunks of tiles, or like, I don't know what's going on there. Got it. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah. So yeah, of course, you know, normally it's very simple and straightforward, but yeah, they are doing some fancy nonsense. Yeah, look at that. That was like instant. Now, you'll notice it doesn't work perfectly. Is that because I don't have my terrain set up correctly? No. Okay, so it just didn't work. What the hell? Like, look at that. Why does... Ignore empty tiles. Maybe. That might be what it is. Yeah, I think it's something along those lines. The parameter of the function is and surrounding cells, which just gets set to true. So the only other thing we could do is set that to false, but... See, that doesn't... That's weird. Why does it do that? That's strange. So now, there's something up with this person's code, I guess. Maybe it's because we're setting cells one at a time, and it doesn't update neighbors. But no, it's supposed to update here, so it shouldn't matter if we're setting cells one at a time, because it updates them all at once. And... What? Huh? That doesn't make any sense. Like, it should capture it and be able to set, like, our connections are set correctly. So this should see I'm surrounded by... Maybe it's because it's surrounded by 3 tiles, but no, that's set in our terrain. Maybe? Oh, okay. Yeah, no. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Yeah, so... Maybe it has something to do with how many connections there are, but, like, this has... maybe it's checking diagonals, like, instead of just sides. I think that might be the issue here. We just want it to check... We just want this. We want the simplified tile connections. We don't need... Like, we don't need the full... match of vertices? Maybe it's that. No? No, I don't... Cause see... Okay, well that broke it. In regular Godot... Like, I think what's happening is diagonal connections are confusing it, maybe? Because in here... Where'd it go? So in here, right, you see, we're checking just sides. And this one's checking, like, sides and corners. And I don't want sides and corners. And I think that's set up in the terrain stuff. Here. Yeah, see, match sides, match corners and sides. We just need match sides, and that, I think, would fix it. But the plugin doesn't seem to have the options for that. Maybe that's a new Godot 4 thing. Um, so yeah, because it's not... I think this plugin doesn't really work either, right? Like, why doesn't it work? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, because I colored in the corners. That's why. Okay. If you color the corners in, that tells it match corners. If you don't, that tells it do not match corners. Okay. I think that'll fix it. Because I see now in the example picture, they're using tiles just like these, and they didn't color the corners in. So I think that's all we got to change, and that'll fix it. Because yeah, it's getting confused and looking for corner connections that don't exist, or corner patterns and stuff, and it's like, well, I guess I got to use that tile instead. But if we do this, and there are no corners to match, I think it ignores corner connections. Which would make a lot of sense. Maybe that's how it was in Godot 3 as well, and I would have immediately thought of that if I had used 3 more. Or at all. I don't even know if I used 3. Less efficient, who just handmade the entire map and set every tile manually. Maybe. Hey, there we go. Fixed it. Yeah, okay, that works blazingly fast. Oh, I need to update. Right, it has to update in the offset. Yeah, no, it's, you know, I just steal shampoo in general. You go to the store, you just yoink some shampoo. It's just on the shelf, you can just take it. The real answer is that I read a really funny news article years ago that was like a guy in Niagara Falls or something, like in that area, had been stealing shampoo from like CVS. So the newspaper reporting on the story, because he did it again, he kept doing it. They called him the Shampoo Bandit, and I was like, that's really funny. I'm gonna use that as my name. Because I was trying to think of like, what do I name my channel? I have no ideas. And I just did that because it was silly. But yeah, there we go. And now we just have to give it the offset. Now, what I'm very curious about is if this is performant across like a massive tile layer, or if we should do chunks. Well, I'm glad you think so. I thought it was pretty funny, so it's good that other people do too. Because what we need to do is make a massive tile layer. Yeah, we'll just do that for now. And then what we need to do is the X offset here times... I think this is 70, like this is per tile. So, yeah. Oh, the game, okay, the game hitched. So it's not perfect, but it's much better. It's a sub 1 second hitch rather than multiple seconds. Okay. So we're doing better. We probably want to thread this specifically somehow. And just let it happen when it needs to. Like, I don't know, something along those lines. I think some people were saying that there's like a really easy way to do that in Godot. Like you can just say, hey, thread this function call. Or something like that. I think. I don't know for sure. Let's see. Godot 4.5 threading. So you can just say thread.new, thread start, thread function, thread wait to finish. Now, I don't know if this function is set up to be threaded. I don't think it is. So what we can do is we can thread some function here. So we could probably just say update tiles. And just call this as its own function. Dinosaur jumping cactus minigame until it's done. Yeah, there you go. Just have another game run while your game is updating. Easy. Now, yeah, we do want... I think it's going to get slower and slower. Well, actually, no, because it's only updating in the rectangle. So that's kind of like, it's only ever going to take as long as it takes to update that rectangle, right? Like, honestly, I don't think it's actually going to be that bad having a gigantic tile map layer. And then the X offset. And then with this being its own function, right? We can now call it from here. So we do creating threads is slow, especially on Windows. To avoid unnecessary overhead. Well, isn't the point of this to make the performance better? Right, okay, so creating it in the first place is slow. So we only want to do the new, like here in ready. We only want to do the new once for every thread that we have. That's totally fair. We could actually do it before ready. I don't know how many threads we're gonna need, but yes. So we'll do this. And now if we want multiple, I don't think we need more than one thread, because even if we have multiple chunks, I think we'll just we'll make a fancy little function where we could pass in, we're only gonna do one chunk at a time. You're either moving left or right. Like that's end of story. We only need one thread. And then, yeah, okay, so multi-threading is actually pretty easy, which is pretty fucking cool. So I think we could do generator.updateTiles.bind. But it needs to be the function and not, yeah, like that. And then we bind it with our stuff here. In Godot is what I mean. Like, contrary to what it is when you're actually trying to do it in C++, because I remember I had a class on that. They abstract out a lot of the headache with just start your thread, fuck it. There you go, you're done. And then you need your exit tree here for all of your threads, and you just wait for them to finish. And like just for the basic stuff in Godot, like that's all you have to do in GD script. Now you can even have mutexes, so you can lock and unlock your shit. Very cool. You can have semaphores. Okay, yeah, there you go. So it's pretty straightforward, honestly. Like they have some API stuff going on here to make threading a lot easier for you. So yeah, I mean, considering it's like pretty straightforward, we might as well. Now, we probably want to mutex the tile map to make sure that it doesn't get updated outside of the thread. Like, you know, it might, but because we're gonna need to we need to queue things, right? Like Because, for example, right here, when we're making multiple tiles... Yeah. We need a way to mark, like, hey, we need to update this part and this part. And then, I mean, once it's done, we kind of don't really need to care. Oh, you know what? We can update, where is it? Tile map, damage tile. This part. Because we're still using set cells terrain connect here. We gotta update this as well while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, mind your mutexes and your semaphores. So what we gotta do here is the better terrain. Update cell. And then... Oh, we don't even have the tile map layer. Right? Forgot that this is like... Oh, no, this is part... The tile map layer is what this is. How do we get that? Is that just... self? Because this is running in the tile map layer code? I think that's just self. There we go. And we want to update the surrounding tiles because it changes things. So there we go. I think we just do that now. And uh-oh. What happened? Why no worky? It's it's because we have to set the tile and then update it. Duh. And I think... Wait. How do we set it to nothing? Is that -1? Yeah, -1. Okay. Right. Yeah. 858. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Huh? Hello? Why is my game frozen? God damn it. What happened? Why did it worked before? What happened? Uh-oh. Okay, I changed nothing and it worked this time, so that's cool. There we go. So, now that's working. I love it when you change nothing and it just works, because then you don't know why it didn't work, and then you're scared forever. And there's like a bomb that's gonna go off someday. I assume it has something to do with the... We're gonna mutex it right now. I assume it has something to do with it being accessed while the thread was doing its thing. Which means... Okay, so if we're gonna go this route, we probably want... we want, like... Maybe even to just put all this code in tile map here, like one thing that can mutex and like make sure that shit isn't getting messed up. Just defer to like one class that is going to manage the stuff that has to do with the tile map stuff. So like planet should not directly do anything to the tile map. It should say, hey, tile map, update yourself. And then the tile map does it. So I think that's what we want to do here. Instead of having this be under the planet. Like, the planet should just tell it to do it. And then everything that has to do with, like, directly modifying the tile map, I think, should happen in this one spot. So that way it's contained. And we don't have to worry about, like, uh-oh, who's doing what? So I think that's what we're gonna do. Is we're just gonna scoot it all over. Okay, so we have our exit tree. That's fine. It is oh, planet, right. It's not declared in planet anymore. So yeah, it's... And actually, this can just have its own, you know, its own ready function that just calls this stuff. There's no reason it has to be in the planet. Now, and then, yeah, we could have different planets. We could just set, you know, what type of generator they use based on that, if we want to have, like, different ore layers or whatever. Put these together. What are you talking about, dude? But then how do you mutex yourself? Can you... Oh, well, yeah, no, we... Okay, duh. My brain splorted on how mutexes work. So, right, we do want this to be part of this, because it's like... What we can do is... Inside of our thread function... Which is, oh yeah, that shouldn't be in update tiles. That should be in here. It shouldn't be in the generator. This should be not here. It should be in here. Because we need to call this function. So we want to update tiles, and inside of this function is where we lock and unlock, right? Because that's how you do it. Okay, so let's just make it right here. Okay, so now, like right here, right where we're updating this, we surround this with mutex lock and mutex unlock, and then this should make sure that we're only modifying and updating the areas whenever the lock is open. I think if a thread hits this, like if this hits the lock and we've locked it here, then it waits until it gets unlocked and then it locks it again here, and then, you know, that should help things. And that should make sure that we're timing things correctly. I don't think we need to worry about it right here, because we're only going to run this once, and this can't happen before the game has started running. And there we go. We are good to go. All right, so now we are a little bit more safe with our updates and whatnot. Look at that. There's still like, see this? There's some issues with tiles here, but it vaguely gets better when I modify the tile set. And then, like, yeah, what is this artifacting coming from? And why does that get updated with... Huh? That's weird. And that's part of the same, like, vertical... Like, it's all part of the same tile map layer. I mean, all of it's the same layer, because it's all one big layer. That's strange. I don't know why I'd do that. Isn't that weird? That's weird. Huh. Maybe it has something to do with the mutix. Maybe the mutix is making it, like, funky wonky. I don't know. But I feel like it was probably doing that before we added the lock. Like, I don't think the lock does anything special here. Okay. Yeah, honestly, it's his fucking fault. It's always him. Oh yeah, let's add our doohickeys. Wait, we don't have to pass that in. This is the tile map. Keep forgetting. And so now the planet can call this and be like, hey, the player needs, you know, if the player is getting too close, too far to the left, we need another chunk over there. And if the player's going to the right, we need more over there. So what we could do is... how do we determine that? I guess we take so player dot position, is it at 0? I think that's your X position, and then if we modulus, no, divide that by 16. That's your tile position, right? But then if you go negative... I don't know, let's play around with it. So your position is your X position divided by 16, so it's like every 16 tiles or whatever. And then we... But that position's afloat, so we want to... Maybe... I don't know. We don't really care too much about the, like, floating point player position for this. It doesn't have to be that precise. And then we divide it by 16. And is that going to give us an integer? Or is that... I think it should, because we're doing integer over integer. And then now we have a tile position of, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I think if we modulus 71, then that should give us our, like, chunk position. Probably, maybe. So we could just print player chunk. And let's just spam the console with that. Okay, so that's not how you do modulus in, Teehee. How do you do modulus in Godot? What? It says that's how you do it. Oh, I'm silly. No. We're getting... Wait. Oh, shit. We just want divided. We just want divided by 71. I think? Am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Okay, I'm doing it right. Negatives just don't get handled correctly, because of course they don't. They never do. And having an if statement kind of blows, but how do you handle a negative in this? I don't know. Because the chunk should be -1 if it's below 0. Instead of just 0. Forget... I did this once before because I was like making a game with like a 2D Minecraft thing, and it was like, okay, you know, I need the chunks to go have negative positions, and so, you know, I had to handle it for negative whatever, like mapping the chunk position. I totally fucking forgot the math for that. Like I did that, I don't know, months ago, or maybe last year or the year before. And I don't remember how I pulled that off, but I know that I had it working. Shucks-a-rooney. I don't know. I could just do an if statement, like if it's less than 0, then adjust it accordingly. Maybe that's what I did. I worry about if statements every frame, because then it's like, who knows how many are going to be too many. But fine. So now yeah, I think so. We love parentheses. Nice one. Fine. You're gonna complain about it. Yep, there we go. Okay. So now what we can do is okay, so we need the chunk and we need the position within the chunk, which I don't think it matters if it's negative. Like, position within the chunk is just going to be modulus 71. And I think that one's, I think, going to be fine even if it's negative. These should probably also not be created every single fucking frame. Just make them as values that exist and just update them. Although that uses more memory, but, you know, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if it matters that much, actually. Because it's just integers and whatnot. And now we do this, but we do modulus 71, and that's your position in the chunk. Oopsie. Oh. It becomes negative. Yeah, how do you flip? Oh. Well, that's not good. So if it's less than 0, your position in the chunk is gonna be, it's gotta like, it's still gotta maintain. Do we just make it positive for this calculation? The player position? No, because it flips around, right? Like, positive 0.1 or whatever, positive 1 is 1, but negative 1 is 15. Or, you know, 70. So it has to wrap around. Maybe? Maybe. But it has to flip, right? When you go into the negatives, you're counting backwards, but the modulus operator you're flipping your modulus results when you do that. What the heck do we do? Well, I don't know, because floor at negative 0.2, wouldn't floor just make it 0? Because that's the lowest round down? Or is negative 1... Well, I guess negative 1 is less than 0, right? So, if it rounds down... I don't know. Maybe floor would work here. I don't know if it rounds towards 0 or not. I don't know if that's... if I'm just being stupid or if that's something to think about, but... how do you get modulo of negative stuff? Modulo of negative stuff follows the truncation method. Okay, it has fpos mod function, which I think I could probably... I could probably use... Okay, without an if statement, maybe, for at least for this. So let's try... So we have player position over 16. So we have this value. And we do fpos mod. This value and 71, right? So let's try that. Now it says, yeah, it turns into a float. Yep, okay. fpos mod does exactly what I want it to do. Very good. So we just need to cast it as an integer. I don't know. It doesn't really matter if it's a float. We just need to know. I don't know if that would change comparisons, but I don't think so. Floor goes left. Okay, got it. Yeah, so I think you are correct here then. Let's give that a try with floor of this. Let's see. So you're saying you just divide it. Just do the whole division and then floor it and then integer it. Is what you're getting at here. Okay, so let's try that. Yep, chunk -1. There we go. And then let's go see about chunk 1. Very cool. And then, yeah, so we want... I mean, to begin with, we're going to need to generate both sides because they're close enough, like we're in this chunk. And then I think... I mean, we may not need the inter-chunk position, but, like, every time we move over to the left and, like, cross into a new one, we're going to need to generate the next one over at some point. Like, we could try to get a little bit fancy and be like, oh, well, it's coming up off screen, you know, so better generate, like, when we're at position 31 or something. Intra-chunk, there you go. But yeah, I don't think we need that position so much. I think we just... we probably need to keep track of which... as if that's a real word. I mean, it's technically a real word. We have used it in a sentence. That makes it a real word. But we need, like, to keep track of what chunks have been generated. Which should probably be saved to... Well, not saved to disk, because I think the world's going to be randomly generated whenever. I don't think it's going to be a persistent planet. It's going to be like you go do your mission and the planet gets generated then. So I guess the planet can just keep track of like an array or something of like chunks. And that can just be a little one-dimensional array. Can it? Maybe it should be a dictionary. Because it's not going to be that huge. You're not going to make like a bazillion chunks. And then we could just say, you know, if it's in the dictionary, you're good. If it's not in the dictionary, make that chunk. So we'll keep this around. Maybe we'll just comment it out for now because I don't think we need the position. And what we'll do is, if chunks dot has... I don't know if I don't know what the fastest way to do this would be. If it would be to check if chunks at player chunk is null. Because I think that's true until we assign a value there. Or if it would be to say if it has. This might actually be faster, because then you're just directly referencing that index of the dictionary, and if it's not there, it's just null. And I think it's fine. Hey there, Nooble. How's it going? Welcome. We are working on our world generation stuff right now, and I'm setting up a rudimentary chunking system for generating the ground and stuff. Let's see. So I think this works. Yeah, we're making, it's like a little, it's Coal LLC. It's like a little 2D mining, whatever kind of thing. I was inspired by that, and I wanted to try making my own little game. So right now we're just trying to get this set up so it can generate the world and have all that stuff going and be procedural. So yeah, we'll say if player chunk -1, if this doesn't exist in the chunks, oh, but then, okay, I think the tile map needs to carry this, actually. Because that's where we're making them in the first place, so maybe it makes more sense to put this here. And then when we generate tiles, the X offset is the chunk. So we say chunks at X offset is equal to 1 or something. As and key are the same thing. The latter just also gets the value instead of returning a bool. I see. Okay. As long as it's the same thing, then yeah, that's fine. And I think when we generate the tiles, we also need to update them. Yeah. How should this work? I don't know. I guess I should just put this in here. This. So when we do generate the tiles, we are updating them as well. And we... Right, because we're not even calling update tiles right now. Like, what am I... Well, I am, but... That's silly. I have too many functions to name the same shit. I don't know, man. I thought I was onto something with this generator. Oh, I got it. So maybe I don't got it, but maybe I got it. I don't know. So maybe like in the world generator thing, we have the different types of planets and stuff we can generate. So it's like, this is, you know, generate whatever planet 1 is called. Planet 1 tiles, or I don't know, right? Like, we have different generation functions for the different terrains, different planets, you know, whatever, different things that we have that the player goes to like do whatever. And those are stored in here. And then in the tile map, because this is going to be kind of generic depending on whatever it is, the type of terrain we're wanting to make is then passed along to say like, hey, generate this type of terrain. And so maybe there's a little in-between function here, which is going to add some overhead, but it shouldn't be bad. Like, we have a function here for like, this can be named something more granular, like generate type 1 tiles. And then, you know, we just have a generic generate tiles function here. That what this function does is just I need to make this cohesive. I am already mixing my conventions. I need to stop doing. It's such a bad habit. I just start using like whatever feels good, you know, like what vibe coding, whatever feels good in the moment, man. You do you. And then it's all over the place, and I need to stop doing that. But we do like this, right? So you just say, hey, generate me some tiles of type whatever. And then this is by default 0. And so, or, well, we could just say whatever. And it's like, yeah, we'll just say default 0. So then if you don't give it, it like doesn't really matter. Oh, I see what it's saying. We gotta scoot it over. Optional ones have to go at the end. Right, that's how I feel about it, right? What language do I code in? It depends. I have a lot of experience in random things. Most of my experience, especially after going through school, was in Python. So, and I would use Python in personal projects a lot, just like messing around. So that's why I kind of wanted to learn more about Godot, because I know a lot of Python, and GD script here is very Pythonic. But you know, when I went through school and got my degree, I did a lot of C++ in some of my classes, and I've used C++ in my own time with like, I did one class that was like a video game creation class, and we used C++ and Glut, which is hilarious because it's like a 20-year-old library for OpenGL, I think it is. And that was so silly. That class was goofy, but I did learn a lot about project management at least. But yeah, you know, I've used a lot of random things, and I think I have a lot of experience with Python. I used to use a lot of GameMaker, so like GameMaker language is technically its own programming language, but not really. I don't know. So I know a little bit about that, and then like C++, the basics. I'm not really good at like advanced C++ stuff that like people who actually use it a lot are good at. I don't. Glut, and this was just a few years ago. This was like 2021, 2020, whatever. It was already like 20 years old at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. I think the teacher just kind of had his curriculum and just left it. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna use Glut. And it's like, man, we should have just used like, we really should have used SDL2 or there's another one like GLFW or what, like something. Yeah, SDL, Raylib, like there's many options for C++ libraries if you wanted to stick with C++. But honestly, we probably shouldn't have been using C++ either, because this class wasn't specifically like a computer science class for programmers. This was a general kind of class that I think counted as an elective for computer science, but you know, other people took it. Like there were people who weren't computer science majors in there. So I think really what we should have done is used an engine. We should have used Unity. You know, probably Unity would have been the most straightforward one. Godot is not a bad idea. Like I think Godot is perfectly fine, especially for a class like that. GameMaker, you know, we should have used something like that, because really I don't think the class was meant to teach us about the specifics of programming a video game. I think it was meant to be a more general, like how to make a video game. Because he gave us a lot of code to work with and was like kind of taking us through the general things. So I think, I don't know, like I guess part of it was to put the engine together, but I don't know, man. It was kind of a weird class. It was fun, I liked it, but I feel like the curriculum needed a little bit of a, I don't know, something. Need a little something. Raylib is a perfect middle ground. But yeah, I don't have any projects yet. I have worked a little bit on helping people with like updating random mods for like Terraria and Minecraft here and there, but I still have yet to release and like make my own video game, and I've always wanted to, and I just keep finding excuses not to do it. So I'm like, if I'm streaming now, might as well stream myself making a video game and just keep plugging away at something and then make something and just put it out there, you know, finish a project. I actually, you know what? No, that's a lie. I did finish one project. I did the Vinesauce Joel Game Jam earlier this year, and I plan on doing the one that Vinny is hosting in November, so that'll be another one. But I did the Game Jam, and that game is on itch.io, and you can download it and play it. It won't make a lot of sense if you don't watch Vinesauce Joel. Like, you know, it's a lot of memes and stuff, and it's a goofy little bootleg of Voices of the Void. So it may not make sense, but it is technically a complete game. I don't think it's like very fun as a standalone game, but you know, hey, if you want to check it out, I can actually post that in chat. Okay, Friend Jam, there we go. Submissions. Where? I always forget how to get to. There we go. I just click on my name. There it is. So if you want to check out my game, this one was made in Game Maker. I'll put it in both chats. It's called Signals from the Void. So here's a link to it. It's just a goofy little game made in Game Maker because I was more familiar with that at the time, and I didn't want to learn Godot because I just was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do the game jam. First game you've ever made. You've been perfecting hundreds of projects. Yes, it's a bad habit. Like, just make the game forehead. Like, that's what I like about game jams, and I want to do more of them because it's like you have to release it. You have to finish the game. You do not get months and months of time. You don't get infinite time to work on your game. You have to finish. You have a week. You're done. No more. And I think if I get more strict with myself about planning the project and everything, I think I could release and like get more projects done, because I feel like, you know, from this first game jam, I have a good sense of project management and getting things done on a timeline. Like we were in a great spot, and I was doing all the programming, so that might have helped. But even then, even with me doing all of the programming and setting like goals for myself, like I was able to, in 2 weeks, I had my job at the time and everything, so I had to balance it around that. But I was able to set, you know, here's what I want to get done every day. Here's what we need to get done at the end of 2 weeks. Here's the scope of the game, and we got it done. Like we finished the game. Everything worked. I ran into some bugs here and there, but I was able to fix them, and we had time for like a little bit of testing and stuff. And yeah, it was. I think I have that down. I just need to, like, you know, plan my games out more, because I haven't even planned this one out. You know, I just sat down and started working on it, and I think that's the issue. If you sit down and start working on a video game, you can technically work on that forever. But if you sit down and say, okay, here's the scope of my game, this is exactly what's going to be in it, we're going to have 5 enemies, 3 items, 4 levels, XYZ, and then you make that, and it's like, okay, the player's going to jump and do this, and that's it. That's all the player's going to do. Like, there'll be maybe like 2 upgrades or whatever. Like, if you plan that all out, and then you tell yourself, like, you know, that's what needs to get done, and you have that goal, and then you just kind of divide up your days, like, okay, I'll work on this, you know, we'll get players done in this much time, and get the levels done, and get this done, and get that done. Like, that helps a lot. And that way you don't leave yourself room for perfecting things. It's like, because you know exactly what it needs to be, and once it gets there, you're done. You can move on. And that's what I did with this project. Like, I made the systems of the game, and then it's like, okay, that is done. I can now move on. And it was like during the second week, because this was a 2-week game jam, so we had a lot of time. During the first week, I was just like, get this done, get this done, get this done. Had like a working prototype at the end of the first week. So it's like, that's the nice part about designing your game and setting all this stuff up, is so you can't just sit there and go, well, what if I want to add this? Or, oh, well, now that I've done this needs to happen. And, you know, you just do it. And then once it's done, you don't have to think about it anymore. So I think that's probably a better way of approaching things, especially if you get stuck in projects a lot like I do, or just making random things here and there and then just forgetting about them. Is like, just plan something out from the start, have a complete idea for everything, and then, you know, that way you have numerical and achievable goals. Because otherwise, yeah, you know, you could be, and I think this is probably what happens to a lot of people who get into early access stuff, is that they probably don't have the entire game planned out, And so they start working on it, and it's like, yay, where I'm in early access, I'm getting feedback, I'm changing things. And then they kind of just end up doing that forever, and then they get burnt out on the project, you know, 3 years later, and just never finish it. But I think if you have it specifically planned out, and you just leave yourself open to feedback in terms of like how it's balanced and things like that, but you still have, like, just finish the game first kind of thing, or at least have some sort of concrete, like, this is what the game will look like when it's done, then you know how close you are to finishing. And I think that can help a lot too, and just keeping you on track and stuff. But yeah, this is not that. I am not following my own advice, and this is just random bullshit that I'm typing into Godot to like learn more about it. So I mean, I'll put this game up eventually on itch.io as just like a, hey, here you go. I have somewhat of an idea of what this game is going to look like. I'll probably sit down and map it out a little bit more of like what should really be in here, but I don't know. We'll get there eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, I think I have a good enough idea in mind of like, this is what the game will be, maybe, that it shouldn't be too bad, I hope. But yeah, I need to do that as well. Planning anything out game ideas. Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, and that's fun to do. Like, what you could do as well is just write up game document stuff and yeah, that's understandable. What I like to do, what I did to learn programming before I even went to college was stuff like this. Like, I would just come up with a little game idea and just be like, I want to make a game where, like, you know, I want to learn how to do XYZ. And actually what I did is, it wasn't even full game ideas. It was, I want to learn how to do this with this language. So, okay, let me finish this, and I think we'll, like, you know, we'll get off talking about stuff, and then I'll probably wrap up the stream soon because it's getting late. I'm getting hungry. So generate typo tiles with the tile map and the X offset. And there you go. So we'll have this go between that'll just say like, hey, world generator, I need a planet type of like 3, and it'll be like, oh, that's this one. We'll rename these later. Maybe planets will have names or something, so we can something like that to differentiate them, to make them more clear. And then we'll, you know, this is the basic planet type. And then, you know, there'll be like, I don't know, whatever other types of planets later. So yeah. And then that way, generate tiles, I think, is still the same function. And then we remove this. So if tile map chunks is null, I think I like how that looks, or rather than if not has, because then you're getting like double negatives. Like, I think, yeah, if it's null, make it. Like, I think I like how that sounds in my head. Then we tell the tile map, hey, you gotta make tiles. And I mean, maybe there'll be, I don't know. I need to go through here and think about all this stuff with like how these functions are being, how these functions are being like, you know, so many go-betweens, I think, slows things down over time. If it has to like call a function to call a function to call a function, like, it just doesn't make any sense to do that. But like, generate more tiles here, I think, because we have the mutex lock in it, we want this to be the threaded function. So, and I think we want this in here too. Like, because it doesn't really make any sense. I think to call this function, because it's like, if the lock's already locked, you're not going to be able to unlock it. You know what I mean? So this has to happen inside the lock here. And so I think, I don't know, we might rename this function generate more tiles, but I think we will do generate more tiles will be, that's what we bind. Or generate more tiles. So it's thread.generate more tiles.bind. And then that's with self, and the X offset by default is 0. Oh, the game's running? Is that why? Yeah. And then, so by default, it just does that with 0. That should work. Right, I have to, let's just pass. Invalid access to property, generate more tiles. Oh. Duh. What was it? I already forgot the syntax here. Thread.start. And then thread function.bind with the parameters that you're binding to it. Okay, so invalid access to key of -1. So maybe we have to do has. So we have to do if not has layer chunk. Yeah, we have to. Uh-oh. So now we're not generating the world, so why didn't that happen? So thread.start, generate more tiles. We generate tiles, we set chunks to 1 just to have it. X offset is 0 by default, so that should, you know, chunks at 0 will be equal to something. And then we update the terrain area of what we just generated tiles. Yeah, they're not bad looking. They're just, you know, some basic tile set. It was just this part right here, this upper portion that I found online, and then I recolored it a little bit to add in some filler. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad for what it is. It's I think eventually, you know, I want to have my own art stuff for the game, but right now, perfectly serviceable. Not a bad little filler thing to use in the meantime. I found it on itch.io. It's just a free art asset. So it did not generate the tiles. Now I assume maybe that has something to do with the planet type. Oh, right, because planet type has to come before X offset. So there you go. I forgot to give it the planet type, so it... Well, no, because they should all default to 0, that's the first thing we make. So why is it not setting the terrain area? Generate type O tiles. That's weird. Why is that not... Because I didn't really change anything, you know? Fundamentally, like... Let's say the default is also generate typo tiles. But, I mean, it should still, you know, it should still do the thing. Maybe it has something to do with it being on a thread. Maybe that's what it is. Right? So it's like, maybe because it's threaded here, it's not ready to update or something along those lines. Okay, so what if we don't thread this to start, right? And we just call... Okay, that doesn't work. What did I break? Why does this not work now? Oh, whoops. No? Right, bind. We're not calling the function to execute anymore. There we go. Okay. So, so why wasn't that working? Thread.start. We don't need to bind anything to it, so what if we just do that? Oh! Okay. It doesn't like it. Alright, well, let's not do that then. Do not multi-thread to start the game. It does not like that. But I think we do want to thread it, like, while the game is running. That should work just fine. So... let's say... planet. So if the chunks does not has player chunks -1, then we say there could be a signal here. That might actually be a good idea, like emit a signal to say, hey, you need to update. I don't know if that's any better than just calling a function to do it. I don't know. Maybe just calling a function is fine. I feel silly about so many in-between functions. Because I want to thread generate more tiles. I'm also curious what happens if, like, you thread something. Like, you start at the thread, and then you call thread start before the thread finishes. That might be an issue. I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't know if that will, like, queue it or something. I don't know if it handles that. But yeah, if we have... let's just add something like... okay. Make new chunk. Start that with chunk. Let's try that. Uh-oh. Okay, so this probably doesn't need to happen in process. Like, I think this needs to happen later on, like when the game is running. So maybe what we need to do to start, we need to generate the first 3 chunks, really. So we need to do this. Oh, excuse me. A couple times over. Okay, right. So now that the game is running, aha, it just generated a chunk. And now it's gonna do it again. I got a runny nose, man. Nope, it's gonna shit its pants a million times over. Thread already started. Interesting. So why didn't the thread finish? So when you start the thread, how do you end the thread? There, we have thread wait to finish. Is it because it calls another function? I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe we have to call. Exit tree might not be. Oh, yeah, that's called when okay, that's when the scene is about to exit the tree. Okay, so we have to stop the thread. It doesn't stop itself at the end of the function. So how do you... Well, how do you... Can I just end the thread here? Like at the end of this function? Is that how that works? Can we just do like thread? Thread stop, thread finish? Something like that? I thought the thread was supposed to finish when the function finished. You know what I mean? Like you thread this, you start this, right? And then it does it. And then when this is done, it's supposed to like stop the thread. We have to use semaphores, I think. So the thread function is gonna... Okay, so rather than passing this, we need like a variable chunk to generate. Let's say 0. Right, so what has to happen here is we have to have the thread always going, like a while true loop in here. And then we tell it, hey, it's time to wake up and do your work, buddy. And then the thread will get stuck here. The thread will be running forever. It'll never shut down. And then the thread will be stuck here waiting for the semaphore to post. Okay? And when you do this, make new chunk. So if thread is started. So if the thread is not started, we need to start the thread. Else, we chunk to generate is equal to chunk, and then we do semaphore dot post. And this will mean that the thread will only wake up after this line of code, so we should never have an issue of, like, generating the same chunk over again. Because there's no... make new chunk is you know... what's the word? It's going through the code line by line. It's not gonna post until it's done. Oh, shit. What happened? I fucked something up. Oh, I know what I fucked up. I know what I fucked up. Can we stop? Can we stop? I know what it did. I know what it did. No! The wild true loop. Godot, please. Okay. Thank you. I'm using generate more tiles right here. It's just getting stuck in an infinite loop. Oh god, I'm so silly. Okay, let's just manually call this shit here. I'm getting tired of this. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do -1, do 1. We're gonna manually call the bullshit here. Okay. Now we walk to the left. We generated, okay, we've started the thread. The thread is now running. And we should semaphore post when we get to the next chunk. Holy shit. Right, we're calling it every process, so we have now crashed and killed everything. Okay. You know, easy anybody can make that mistake. I swear, it's not just me. So, what we gotta do is maybe not do this in process. Maybe like, be like, hey, only do this once and then not fucking call this a bazillion times over. Because that sure broke everything. But why did... Because it worked the first time. So... So let's see. The first time, it actually worked perfectly, right? Like, we started the thread. And that was fine. But I think there might be, like, a weird condition here where it's... Because chunks gets updated inside the thread. And so... You know, chunks is not updated until it's generated the tiles. So it's trying to read this value, which who knows when this value is set to 1. Yeah, that's not good. So I think what we do is I think we use a signal here, right? Because we want to make sure that things are progressing properly. So we have like a signal, layer moved chunks. And then we just emit a signal, right? So we have player chunk, that's an integer. Player previous chunk is an integer. So player chunk, let's say this is 0. So we do that. If player chunk is not player previous chunk, player moved chunks dot emit. And then previous chunk equals player chunk. Okay, so there we go. And now tile map can subscribe, and like and subscribe to, I think we can just reference the parent here. I think there's like get parent we can use, and then we can get that signal. And this way it'll only happen like once, and then okay, so we need to connect this. We need this function to happen when the signal happen. But maybe we do that in Planet? Yeah, because see, like, that's where we connect this signal, so... what the hell is it called? Maybe. I don't... Well, now I'm getting a little bit confused here. Let's see. We have other signals we're using. Where are they? Okay, so yeah, signals, the inventory has signals that it emits, and then something else. Okay, so in another script we handle, okay. So in another script we handle listening to those signals. So this needs to be pass. And so, okay, the planet is emitting a signal. So in tile map, we need to, in the ready function, so parent, so get parent, so planet is get parent, and we do planet dot, player moved chunks. I think we do that, and we connect our we do that. And then how do we pass in? Is it just the planet passes it? Or when it emits data? Yeah, args, okay. And then player chunk. Okay. And then I guess we could do a quick check, like, well, we could do player chunk minus player previous chunk. If the player chunk is bigger, we'll get a difference of 1. If the player chunk is smaller, we'll get a difference of -1. Like, let's say -1, no. Okay, so if the previous chunk is 0, player chunk is 1. 1 minus 0, that's 1, that's fine. Player chunk is 2, previous is 1, 2 minus 1, that's fine. But now, if previous chunk is 0, player chunk is -1, -1 minus 0, that's fine, that's -1. But then, -2 minus -1, yeah, that's fine, doubled, okay, we're good. Just, I was a bit unsure, my brain is tired, so I wanted to make sure. So that should be fine. And that should always give us 1 or -1. But that's just the direction, like, it needs to be -2 or 3 or 4. So we could do player chunk plus this, plus the difference. And then that'll be like player chunk 2, and then you move to 3, so 3 minus, so if you're in 2, you move to 3. 3 minus 2, 3 plus 1, that's 4. Yeah. Quick maths. It's so hard to think through these multi-step problems when you're sleepy. Okay. Make new chunk, and then we just do that, right? Because it's like, fuck it, and we're just calling functions from functions and functions, and this should flash once and no longer kill you with threads. Kills you with thread. Okay, maybe it didn't connect to the signal properly, so, you know, there's always that. Where am I even? I don't even remember where I'm using these. Yeah, it's .connect for the signal. And then just function name. Yeah, that should work. So planet.signalname.connect on player moved chunks. We make a new chunk. That's weird. Maybe it's because this needs to be like on ready. Get parent should work here. Planet is the parent. And then on ready should be fine. But it didn't work. All right, let's see if the signal is connecting properly. It is. So starting the thread here is shitting its pants, I guess. So now, we gotta think about is, this can happen at any moment. If the thread is in the middle of updating, I guess maybe we need to mutex here, because I think that'll... What'll that do? Because we need to wait until the thread is done to properly read the value of chunks, because it gets set here. Now, I guess what we could do is we could remove this from the thread, right? Because we know that when the thread is happening, that chunk is already set to be updated. So I think what we do is we set it here, just so it's like, that's good. And now we don't have to worry about asynchronous stuff here, and we can check this whenever we need to. So now if chunks dot has, if chunks does not has chunk, make new chunk. Okay, so the signal shit is still not working. I'm getting so caught up in this. I need to end stream soon. It's way late. I should wrap this up here in a minute. Yeah, see, that works. -2. Okay, so this is working, but when it gets to make new chunk, it screws up. Why this happen? So it never... That's weird. Yeah, this should be doing the stuff, but it's not doing the stuff, and I don't know why. Maybe it's this part, it's having trouble starting the thread and it's like not working properly. I don't know. I'm too tired to look at this, I think. So I think we might just wrap it up here. Our game is kind of functional. You know, I gotta fix this stupid thread stuff, but hey, we got the camera done. We got, you got some tiles, you know, we got some ores you can mine, you can put the ore in there. We're getting closer and closer to having a functioning video game that you can play. So, thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back again, I think, tomorrow. I have my schedule underneath the stream. Yeah, Saturday night, we will be streaming again. So, probably play some more games or something tomorrow. I have my schedule under the stream on Twitch. We stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So, if that sounds cool, follow, subscribe, whatever, that kind of stuff, if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care.